22nd lecture will be about why True Family's mission is John the Baptist's mission, part 6. In this lecture, we're going to solve questions like, what is the mission of True Matter? What is the mission of President Moon? And what is the mission of Justin Moon? True Father, open quote, Sodom and Gomorrah could have been spared if there had been just 5 righteous people. You should be serious about my warnings now, and you must change your ways to that of heaven. Then he said, now I will put forth matter, and I can set up any of my sons to become church leaders. They are fully capable to fulfill the responsibility. What about the true children in the seats here? What is your relationship to me? You call me father, right? I could make you presidents, but that is not what I want. I want you to become ancestors and really establish the way of heaven. You should live cleanly as I have instructed you. Don't think you're smart. The wives of Hyunjin, Kookjin, and Hyunjinim must be united as one. You must inherit the position of a king, queen, or president who can make God's tradition grow forever in a nation. I hope that you can become such people. Don't worry that you may be called to leadership in the able UN or of a nation. Everything has been prepared by God for you. Close quote. You can find this in the speech, The Importance of Being a Blessed Couple, January 1st, 2008, at 8 o'clock in the morning on God's Day, yes. In the 8th year of Cheongguk, is said in the Cheonjungun, notes by Michael Jenkins, translation by Kundok editors L. Strada and J. Flynn. Scientists insist on the thesis that meteorite explosion destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Then the question is, how could they be saved if there was no way to stop the meteorite? The answer is simple. The meteorite would have destroyed the cities without inhabitants because the 5 righteous would have been 5 leaders who would have mobilized the inhabitants. Genesis chapter 18 verses 23 to 33. And today's 5 righteous are True Matter, President Moon, Justin Moon, Sean Moon, and God's Prophet. But to save humanity, they must first stop arguing and come together again. Second, they should not seek a position, president or leader, out of vanity. And third, they should not be cowards either. What is the mission of True Matter? True Father, open quote, now I will put forth matter, close quote. Father again, open quote, the responsible person of the Unification Church is not Hyunjin nor Kookjin. On the top of Hyunjin there is matter, and on the top of her there is father, close quote. You can find this in The Mongolian is the Origin of Korean Ancestors, April 4th, 2011, Hundoke, Cheonjungun. Assuming they all get back together, she would be appointed as the board of directors representative in the unification movement, and that would mean that no leader can execute any plan without first having the approval of the board of directors. But also, any decision, positive or negative, made by the board of directors must be supported by True Father's words. That's why True Father said, based on his words and sermons, I won't allow any other word, message to be preached, close quote. What is the mission of President Moon? True Father said, open quote, don't worry that you may be called to leadership in the able UN or of a nation. Everything has been prepared by God for you, close quote. In the previous workshop, I mentioned that President Moon should have run as a presidential candidate for the South Korean elections. Since he didn't, Dr. Yoon Suk-yeol was elected on March 9. True Father, open quote, if I stay here in the United States and Korea is totally destroyed, what will happen? Please understand that up until now, I had to focus only on Korean problems, close quote. You can find this in the book God's Will in the World, chapter 6, Enlarging Our Foundation. Once Donald Trump is elected president of the UPF, a strategic plan must be established to get many presidents to join the UPF in order to counterattack the UN's able agenda. And if the current president of South Korea totally joins, President Moon can work with him with no problem. But if he doesn't join, President Moon will have to take drastic action. What is the mission of Justin Moon? True Father, open quote, you need not worry about Russia or China. They may look grand from above, but looking from below, they are not very strong. Once we begin to teach them, we can transform them into our new second team and lead them in the right direction. We need to hurry, close quote. Father said this in the speech, Called to be Messiahs, May 19, 2011, excerpts Cheonhwan-gun, Las Vegas, Nevada. That will be the second year of the Heavenly Calendar. Just because these nations become our new second team doesn't mean that they will go from the Cain side to the Abel side immediately. It means that they will continue to be king-like nations that will join with us to defeat globalism. But then because of the education that they are going to be given, they will become Abel-type nations. Justin Moon can take care of this very important issue. The 23rd lecture will be about why True Family's mission is John the Baptist's mission, part 7. In this lecture, we're going to solve the question, what is the mission of Sean Moon and his family? True Father said, open quote, I can set up any of my sons to become church leaders, close quote. True Father again, open quote, universal peace and unification. There is no federation. Just say unification. Unification headquarters is also the absolute and unique headquarters. Its representative and inheritor is Hyunjin Moon. Close quote. Father said in the speech, June 5 proclamation, with translation added, on June 5, 2010. Conclusion. Shan Moon is the one chosen by True Father to be the leader of the unification movement. True Father, open quote, we don't have a woman yet who can represent the able women UN. Since Adam couldn't fulfill his responsibility, he lost Eve, with a strong determination that I would put Matter in the position of the wife of Adam, who represents the Creator. I have been recreating Matter throughout my life so that I can present her in front of the whole world with such a status, even if they strongly oppose it. Close quote. You can find that in the speech. You can understand how difficult True Parents course has been. On June 16, 2012, the Able Women UN Inauguration Assembly champion, the Heavenly Calendar will be May 27. That will be the third year of the Heavenly Calendar. As we can see, no woman has achieved perfection and is in a position to represent all women. But since True Father set the model course to educate through Matter, Shan Moon's mission is to follow that same model to educate the true grandson's future wife, means the true granddaughter. True Father, open quote, I have not personally educated my children, even while living at East Garden. After all, who educated Adam? The Archangel did. God, the father of Adam and Eve, did not directly educate them. Therefore, who should educate my children? The 36 couples who stand in the position of the Archangel. Such a traditional principle, weight of education has not yet been established in the Unification Church. Close quote. You can find this in the book God's Will in the World, chapter 35, the 4 Presidential Nations. True Father, open quote, all the blessed children in the heavenly and earthly world who are related to the true parents by blood should keep this comprehensive and final proclamation in mind. Omission. And then he said, we have 14 children. 5 have graduated from Harvard University, and among our 40 plus grandchildren, several are already studying there. Close quote. You can find this in the speech Cosmic Assembly for the settlement of the true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, and for the proclamation of the word by God's substantial self, on January from the days 8 to 15, the year 2012. Conclusion. The first thing Shan Moon must do is to form the 36 couples with the best standard based on the 3 judgments, truth, character, and heart, and where at least one of each couple must be a True Father's descendant. True Father, open quote, if the Unification Church can become a protective fence for all 4 generations of a family, wouldn't a baby ambassador for peace grow up to become a kindergartner ambassador for peace, and after going through elementary school, middle and high school, college, obtain his master's and doctorate degree, ultimately become a king of peace? Close quote. You can find this in the speech, be responsible for building a palace, January 10, 2007. Hundoke and the 41st anniversary of Work Hard, Chonjong-gun Museum. True Father again, open quote. In April 1956, Matter entered Sonjeon Middle School in Seoul. Graduating in March 1959, she entered St. Joseph's Nursing School but did not complete her studies, owing to events that would overtake her the following year. Close quote. You can find that in the book Sun Moon's Life in His Own Words, part 25, The Preparation of the Bride. Second, Shan Moon should create a secondary school, middle and high school, with a nursing school within a home church environment, and he can name it Century School if he wants to. And he also has the mission to finally publish the original Divine Principle, which brings together the 7 seals given by the 7 angels in the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 1, and teaches it to all these school students and the whole world. True Father, open quote, then with whom should sisters unite? Sisters should unite with true parents and true daughters. Brothers should unite with true parents and true sons. Because woman fell first, restoration of woman has to be done first, and then the restoration of man will follow. Close quote. You can find this in the book God's Will in the World, Total Indemnity, page 718, Japanese version. Okay, Shingun Moon, the daughter of Shan Moon, was born on May 16, 2002, lunar calendar, and the true granddaughter was born between December 6, 2008 and December 30, 2008, lunar calendar, which means Shingun Moon is 6 years older than the true granddaughter. Therefore, Shingun Moon is in John the Baptist's position in front of the true granddaughter. On the other hand, Shan Moon inherited Zachariah's position in front of the true granddaughter because her father is already in God's position, and God cannot directly save and educate people. And Shan Moon also has John the Baptist's position in front of the true grandson, because he is 6 years older than the true grandson according to the lunar calendar. Therefore, Shan Moon has the mission to receive the revelation from heaven to identify the true grandson when the conditions are right and at the right time. True Father, open quote, America is where he, Shanmun, grew up. He is thinking of going to America when he has time. He should learn about the relations in America of foreign countries and such. Close quote. Father said this during the benediction of Hyun Jin Moon and Jonah Lee, April 18, 2008, Chonjeon Peace Palace, Chongpyeong, Korea, translated by GHL, edited by Bruno Klux. True said, open quote, don't worry that you may be called to leadership in the able UN or of a nation, close quote. This is the other mission of Shanmun that is also important but not more important than the previous one, and it's that he must make the US president totally aligned with the UPF plan, or else Shanmun will have to take drastic action in the matter to save this nation before it's too late. The 24th lecture will be about why True Family's mission is John the Baptist's mission, part 8. In this lecture, we're going to solve the question, how will the True Family come to perfection to become a model for the world? True Father, open quote, we learn through the principle of restoration that for true parents to come, there must first be true sons and daughters and true servants for true sons and daughters to come, close quote. You can find this in the Completed Testament Age and the Built Kingdom, Book 1, Chapter 2, Section 1a. So, it is only possible to become true parents substantially when the children of those parents attain perfection and become true children. And for the children to reach perfection, they must be assisted by true servants. In other words, Adam and Eve, before perfecting themselves, had to be assisted by the archangels. And if Adam and Eve had reached perfection, they will have become the parents of the archangels. And then the archangels could achieve perfection through the body of Adam and Eve. And if they had, Adam and Eve will have become true parents. True Father, open quote, the first 7-year course is the period externally to lay the foundation by which Satan is prevented from invading above the top level of the growth stage, and internally the time to set the standard by which matter can be restored into perfection. During this period, therefore, matter had to establish the standard of perfect obedience to Adam, and my family had to attain the victorious standard by eliminating completely any condition of satanic invasion. Close quote. You can find this in The Weight of God's Will, On the Will of God, First, The Will of God, Section 1. As we can see, neither true matter achieved perfection, nor True Father's family completely eliminated any condition of satanic invasion. Therefore, this must be done with a true granddaughter, and True Father's family would have a second chance. True Father, open quote, those who will enter heaven must first pass through the gates as God's princes and princesses, as the beloved children of God's lineage and the royal descendants of his kingdom. Only the royal descendants and members of this royal family can enter heaven. Lineal and collateral descendants, siblings of exemplary loves between siblings, will form exemplary tribes and nations on earth. They will bring those qualities and the dignity of a heavenly royal family when they begin life in heaven. Omission. Then he said in the same speech, now you need to become members of the royal family of true love. If Adam becomes the child of the direct line of the royal family, his brothers and sisters as collateral children would become his people. Within you, the loving dignity and honor of the princes and princesses of God's kingdom. Heaven, in the original homeland, is a place you need to enter with dignity after having walked the course of life with honorable steps. Close quote. And you can find this in the Chonseongyeon, Book 10, Chapter 4, Section 7, 7.1. 7.1. Yeah. First, when True Father refers to God's princes and princesses, or God's children, he's referring to the first blessing. Second, all of us will be the collateral children of the true grandson and the true granddaughter, including the True Father's direct family. The physical children of the true grandchildren will be the direct line children, but the collateral children that will be closest to the true grandchildren will be whoever is part of the Moon clan in the spiritual or physical world, because all descendants of True Father, including True Matter, even though they haven't achieved the first blessing, were born without original sin. Therefore, it is much easier for them to purify, restore, and perfect themselves than for us. True Father, open quote, Father, since God gave the blessing to Hunjin, it is almost as if he had fulfilled the heavenly four-position foundation here on earth. Close quote. You can find this in Parents' Date of the year 1984 on April 1st, 1984. Belvedere translator Bohi Park. That Hunjin has almost completed the four-position foundation means that he is at the perfection level of the growth stage, and that is the same level that Adam and Eve and the archangels were at before the fall. And we know that spiritual growth to perfection is only possible through the physical body of oneself or a descendant. To Father, open quote, the Songhua ceremony began with the death of my son. Hunjin was established at that time. At the hospital, I had to remove his oxygen mask. Hunjin went to the spirit world as the Messiah to the spirit world in the same position as the second coming. Close quote. You can find this in the Cheongsong-gyeon, Book 6, Chapter 1, Section 2, 2.4. The Songhwa ceremony represents the resurrection of Christ, and the resurrection means that Christ overcame sin and death. The True Father has said that Hunjinim is the Messiah of the spiritual world, and that the Songhwa ceremony has begun with him means that he will be the first spiritual being in history to perfect himself through the perfect Adam and Eve, in this case, the true grandchildren. But that should be immediately after the true granddaughter achieves perfection, which will be in 2027, and thus he will be a model for our ancestors and angels in the spirit world. And this is the main reason why True Father removed Hunjinim's oxygen mask. If he had achieved perfection before going to the spirit world, he would never be a model and a hope for spirits without physical bodies. And when this is achieved, the promise of the Apostle Paul in the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verses 39 to 40 will be fulfilled. True Father, open quote, from now on, Hyojin as the elder brother will cooperate with Hunjin and even help the people who are living in the most miserable environment. Hyojin is called the Lord of Loyalty, filial piety, and the liberation of the whole spiritual world, in the position of true parents in the spiritual world. Through the unity of both, the resurrection of spiritual beings will be easier and quicker. Close quote. Father said this during the benediction of Hyunjin Moon and Yona Lee. April 18, 2008, Changjeon Peace Palace, Champion Korea, translated by GHL, edited by Bruno Klotz. Lucifer would have been perfected through Adam and Eve if the fall hadn't occurred, as Hunjin was born without sin, never sinned, and is one step away from perfection. He is on a mission to restore what Lucifer never did before the fall. On the other hand, Hyojin, although he was also born without sin, he did sin. Therefore, he has the mission of being a model of restoration for all fallen angels and all our ancestors, because they were all born with original sin. I dare say that Hyojin will be a better role model and a greater hope to liberate hell than Hunjin himself. True Father, open quote. Your ancestors who are in the spirit world shall now return to this earth at this time of the true parents, who directly govern all life and all things as the substantial entity of God, who exists without form. They will go through the three-stage blessings of rebirth, resurrection, and eternal life, and complete the original divine principle education. The education on absolute marital fidelity organized by true parents. Only then can they take part in the original authority granted by the Songhwa, ascension and liberation, and attain the qualifications to become citizens of Cheongguk while on earth. Close quote. You can find this in the speech Cosmic Assembly for the Settlement of the True Parents of Heaven and Earth and Humankind, and for the proclamation of the Word by God's substantial self. January, from the days between 8 and 15, the 8 and 15 day in the year 2012. This quote that I just read to you sums up God's entire salvation plan. Once the true granddaughter is perfected, she and the true grandson become the true parents, and we who are in the physical world will be perfected through their substantial love and the original divine principles education. And finally, our ancestors can be perfected through us. And this is what it means that our ancestors must participate in the Songhwa ceremony together with us on earth. Let's replace True Father, open quote. From now on, Hyojin, in this case Shanmun, as the elder brother, will cooperate with Hunjin, in this case is the true grandson, and even help the people who are living in the most miserable environment. Hyojin means Shanmun, is called the Lord of Loyalty, filial piety, and the liberation of the whole spiritual world. Spiritual world means religious world. In the position of true parents in the spiritual world means religious world. Through the unity of both, the resurrection of spiritual beings means religious people will be easier and quicker. Close quote. Father said this in during the benediction of Hyunjin Moon and Yona Lee, April 18, 2008. Changjeon Peace Palace, Champion Korea, translated by GHL, edited by Bruno Klotz. Shanmun will have the same mission in the physical world as Hyojin will have in the spiritual world. And when Shanmun achieves perfection, he will be a better role model and a hope for the fallen world than the true grandson himself. And the same will be with Shingon Moon, Shanmun's daughter, and the true granddaughter. True Father, open quote. The first Adam, the second Adam, the third Adam, the fourth Adam, and the fifth Adam, which is in God's position, and he must go until the sixth Adam. Close quote. You can find this in the speech. The internal and external God are not separate entities. Hundoke, Chon Juan Gun, Las Vegas, Nevada, April 12, 2011. The first Adam is represented by Adam and Eve from the book of Genesis. The second Adam is represented by Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. The third Adam is represented by true father and true mother. The fourth Adam will be represented by the true grandchildren and their physical children, their future physical children, and every sinless spirit that is one step away from perfection, like Hunjini. And the fifth Adam will be represented by every perfect Adam who is in God's position, like Jesus and Father, together with their wives and descendants. And the sixth Adam will be the entire fallen world. They will be purified, restored, and perfected. Okay, we can stop here and then continue in the next video.